In that moment, Paul realized that Stilgar had shifted from being the proud leader of the Fremen to a figure of the Lisan al-Gaib, a vessel for reverence and submission. It felt like a diminishing of the man, and Paul sensed the faint, ghostly breath of the coming jihad within it. There's a moment in the first Dune novel that I kept thinking about every time Stilgar appeared in Part 2. Paul sees how Stilgar, once a leader and warrior, begins to transform into something else, a living symbol, a figure of prophecy, not just someone the Fremen follow, but someone they worship. And in that shift, Paul senses something terrifying on the horizon, the storm of holy war waiting to be unleashed. For some, Stilgar's extreme devotion might seem funny. After all, Bardem plays him with such boldness and exaggeration that he almost feels like comic relief. But personally, I couldn't laugh, because beneath his passionate outbursts, I saw a deeper tragedy. That of a man who's clinging to something too big for him to control. A man who once led with wisdom, slowly giving himself away to blind belief. At the beginning of the story, Stilgar is everything the Fremen admire. He's wise, respected, committed to his people above all else, and that's what earns Paul's respect too. Stilgar always puts the tribe first. His decisions come from a place of service, not ego. But once he starts to believe Paul might be the long-awaited Mahdi, the savior foretold by prophecy, something in him begins to unravel. And what's most heartbreaking is that we can't even blame him. Stilgar is a traditional man, rooted in the stories of his people. Even when he first doubts Jessica and Paul, part of him still wonders if they're the fulfillment of the legends. Because the Fremen have always clung to the idea that one day a Messiah will arrive, a child born of a Bene Gesserit, who will lead them to freedom and transform the desert world into something new. This dream isn't just a fantasy, it's the one thing that gives them the strength to survive. For Stilgar and his people, the hope for change is all they have. It's what keeps them going in a brutal world where every day is a fight to live. That vision, of water, of growth, of liberation, is the only thing they can hold on to. And when Paul starts to show signs that he might be the one, belief becomes absolute. What we witness in Stilgar isn't foolishness, it's desperation. The turning point comes when Paul defeats Jameis. This outsider, this teenage boy with no experience in killing, takes down a seasoned Fremen fighter. It shakes something loose in Stilgar. Suddenly, he can't dismiss Paul as just a visitor. There's something bigger going on. And once that thought takes root, everything Paul does starts to look like fate. Even Jessica, whom Stilgar once wanted dead, becomes part of the prophecy. In the Sietch, when the old Reverend Mother is dying, Stilgar approaches Jessica with a proposition that's barely a choice at all. Become our new holy woman. His faith is so overwhelming that even Paul's refusals don't faze him. Stilgar just interprets them as further proof. After all, a true Messiah wouldn't need to claim the title, his actions would speak for him. And that's the danger. When someone needs to believe, even a denial becomes a confirmation. From this moment on, everything Paul does is seen through the lens of prophecy. He survives the trials. He sees visions of the future. He adapts to the desert like he was born there. Stilgar doesn't just witness these things. He connects them to every ancient tale he's ever heard. And when Paul finally rides the worm, completing a sacred rite from legend, Stilgar's doubts vanish completely. At that point, it no longer matters what Paul believes. Stilgar has made up his mind. His transformation is complete. He isn't just following a leader now, he's serving a living myth. Every step Paul takes feels like destiny. Every action is sacred. Stilgar would gladly give his life if it meant fulfilling the prophecy. And that's where the story takes a darker turn, because what we're watching is a classic case of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Stilgar believes so strongly that Paul is the Mahdi, he starts behaving in ways that make it real. And the more people around him share that belief, the harder it becomes to question it. The sociologist Robert Merton once described this perfectly. When enough people believe in something, even if it starts as fiction, their behavior can actually make it true. And on a planet like Arrakis, where survival depends on belief, the Fremen begin to reshape reality to match the story they've always hoped was true. The Bene Gesserit knew this. They planted the seeds of prophecy generations ago, preparing cultures to receive a Messiah. And the Freeman, without knowing it, stepped right into that trap. Stilgar isn't the only one who falls, but he's the most tragic example, because he wants to believe so badly. Imagine spending your life under oppression, waiting for someone to set you free. Then, one day, a boy appears. He speaks of visions, of freedom, of a better world. How could Stilgar not fall for it? And yet, even as the signs become more real, what's actually happening is far more complicated. Paul does become a savior, but not in the way Stilgar expected. He rises to power, he crushes his enemies, he even becomes emperor. But in doing so, he unleashes a war that kills billions and spreads fire across the galaxy. He frees the Fremen, but not in the way they dreamed. Instead of water and peace, they get blood and legend. And still, Stilgar stays loyal. Even as the violence grows, even as the truth becomes harder to ignore, for years he has served Paul. He gains status, comfort, and a place in the new empire. But as time passes, the cost becomes harder to deny. The Fremen way of life begins to vanish, their traditions fade, and the desert changes. And deep down, Stilgar feels it slipping away. But he can't bring himself to challenge Paul, or Paul's son, Leto. Eventually, everything he once believed in starts to crack. The Jihad has destroyed more than empires, it's destroyed the Fremen soul. Stilgar fears what's coming. He sees that the ancient ways, the ones he fought to preserve, are being buried beneath a new world order. Paul's son, Leto II, rises as something far beyond human, a being neither god nor man, an immortal creature that Stilgar can barely recognize. And in that moment, he finally sees it. He's been used, manipulated, played. The game was over long before he realized he was a piece on the board. He even contemplates a final act, ending the Atreides bloodline to stop what's coming. But it's too late. The transformation is complete. The Empire marches forward and Stilgar is left behind. Centuries later, Arrakis becomes the paradise the Fremen dreamed of. Green, fertile, peaceful, but there are no Fremen left to see it. They vanish, swallowed by history. The very people who dreamed of that future are gone. Stilgar's story and the culture he fought for survive only as myth. And maybe that's the most haunting part of all. Not just that he believed, but that he gave everything for a dream that would erase him. Because Stilgar didn't die a fool. He died a believer. And sometimes that's even more dangerous. If you're still here, thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, dropping a like and leaving a comment helps more than you know. It tells the algorithm this video deserves to be seen. See you in the next one.